Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm sharing a baby card which is part of an INSTAHOP, over on Instagram. So if you wanna hop along and take a chance on winning a gift certificate, then definitely go over to Instagram and have fun, get inspired by the design team members from Time 40 Designs. Now today is the World Card Making Day, and so the idea was to each and everyone share a card using our favorite technique. And today I decided for making a clean and simple card, you know me, and doing some no-line coloring. So before doing the coloring, actually the most important part of the card, I decided to try this. While you can see me doing it, I'm creating my own background and I'm just using Copic markers, pinkish reddish markers, to draw in some lines. This is going to be a mini slimline card, so I already trimmed the panel down to the size of a mini slimline. In my case it's 3.5 inch and 6.25 inch. That's the size of this panel, and I'm just randomly adding those lines using all of these markers that I selected, and I'm making sure to somehow somewhere overlap a bit to change the angle of the lines every time a bit so that it seems like a really random background. I definitely think that to create this I was inspired by some of my pattern papers that I have here and some of my background stems. That being said, it's time to start on the image. Today I'm using the All Occasion Critters stamp set. I've used it in the past and truly it's like the name, it really has a stamp for every occasion. So this one is just perfect for a baby. So I decided to use it today again. I used it in the past, but I just love it that much. I stamped it out using ink on 3 no-line coloring ink, and I did that on Transotype perfect coloring paper. Now before starting with the Copic coloring, you saw me adding the eyes using a Copic Multiliner. That's just handy for me. You don't need to do it at first, but I find that this ink truly is fade out, and once I added several layers of my Copics, it tends to disappear where the placement is exactly. So therefore I bought the multiliner, and this way I can already add it at first and be sure that I have everything as intended. You don't need to have it as intended. If you prefer other eyes, you can always change it up once it disappeared, but I just really love the stamp as it is. So for the coloring, I first thought that I would do just E33 going to E53, E51, E50. But then once I added those shadows where I wanted them to be, mostly on the left side, then you see that the head is overlapping with the front of the belly or the back, and therefore I needed a bit of a darker shadow over there to really have it separate and to show you that these are two different elements of the bear, and therefore I added the E15 as well. So once I did that, I did exactly the same as in the beginning, working my way from darkest to lightest, and you can keep going back and forth until you like the blend. So I went over it quite a lot, but I also didn't want to go overboard with the shadowing, which I also like, having a bit of dramatic shadowing. But with the baby card, I don't know, it seems a bit cuter when you use really soft colors, so I didn't want to go overboard over there. And therefore I have a really soft bear here. Now just keep adding, and if you think that the paws are sort of disappearing in the body, then add a bit more shadow right behind the paws. Just play a bit around until you like it. I'm just adding those final pink items, and then since this is going to be for a baby girl or whatever, I'm just going to use pinks. I decided to use some really soft red markers to add a bit of color to the cloud, and you will see me go back and forth quite a lot here because of course it needs a bit of work to get that blend that I wanted. So I have R02 and R00 for the cloud. So first I added the R02 where I wanted it to be a bit darker, so mostly on the bottom and then right underneath the bear. And then I decided to do a bit of flicking to help me with the blend, because R00 is really light, so I needed a bit of work over there. So I just kept doing that. But once you like it, you can stop, but I just wasn't convinced yet. So tiny flickings here, and also emphasizing the shadow underneath the bear. And once I liked it, I used the matching dies to cut it out, and then we could continue with the rest. So for the rest, I have this baby cut out using the Anthony's Alphas, a really fabulous, superb die set. I love alphabets, I love emphasizing one word in a sentiment, and I just wanted to add the baby. Now I cut it out of white and then also out of the Topaz Altenew glitter cardstock. I tested it, I didn't like it with the white, I didn't like it with the gold. I tried the shadowing and I didn't like it either, so I decided to try and color the baby as I colored the cloud. Now I'm showing you here because it's a complete process, so I did everything like I'm doing right now for the Y. I'm not showing everything because this is not the final result that I got. So I tested it again, you will see it in a bit, and it just didn't work because I went for a really soft cloud and the background reds were more red and pinkish, and this one is more orangey pink, so it didn't work in my opinion. I wasn't happy with it at all. As you can see here, normally I like it because it refers back to the colors on the image, but this time it just, no, it didn't work. So I switched it up. You will see that in a second. I'm going to add the sentiment from the stem set itself as well, which says "Welcome little one," and I'm just going to add it on the bottom of my card, and then later on we will embellish it more. But for the baby, it wasn't good enough. So I took back that baby off, and then I used some of my reds that I used on the background as well. And there is only a slight difference, but it works for the match with the background. So now for the letters, I used the R14 and R21. And I did the same as previously. I did some flicking and going back and forth. Now, since I already added a lot of markers previously, the paper was already quite saturated, so the blend went way smoother than what I had at first. But I just kept going until I was happy, and you can see here already how much more red it is. And of course we have the other colors underneath, and I am not an expert, so I don't know if that has any influence on the end result of these markers together, but I really like how it turned out in the end. And once I colored my complete mat underneath, my craft mat, I could call it like done. No, I'm not afraid of coloring onto my craft mat because it's really easy to just remove it with a bit of alcohol, and then I'm not talking about the booze, I'm talking about like a hand cleaning gel or just the alcohol solution that you have for cleaning your alcohol markers, you know, anything like that goes, so I'm not worried at all. So as you saw me just check, there is also the possibility of using the gold on top, but with all the effort of the blending, I thought, well, just add the colored letters on top, you know, and I'm trying to get that little shadow on the left and bottom of each letter, trying to have it sort of spaced the same way, but it's a bit eyeballing, of course. And once those letters are adhered on top of each other, I'm going to stamp out the sentiment. And I also think if you would like to remake the card and you know the name of the baby and its possibility to have it on this size of card, and instead of baby you can specifically add the name of the little one, that would be lovely. Also the same goes for if you want to use other color combinations. Just take your markers that you prefer, make it a rainbow card, make it a blue card, a green, a purple one. Anything is possible. So now it's time to add everything together on my mini slimline card base. I'm first using my Pritt adhesive roller to add that panel on top of it. And then I'm going to try the layout for the baby. Now, originally I intended to have it straight, but then when I placed it a bit crooked previously while testing the more orangey colored baby, I found it really fun to have it a bit in all directions. So that's what I did. Then I'm adding the little one here with some thin foam squares, and the baby will just go on top with some liquid glue. I'm trying to also align my panel a bit to have the baby sort of straight. I know it's crooked, but with the purple tape I have it sort of straight in the way that I wanted it to be. So once that dried and I let it dry for a while, I removed the purple tape really slowly to not rip the paper of the baby. And then we are going to embellish this card. Now, first of all, of course, I'm going to add some heart sprinkles, because I love them. So today I'm using all the reds from the Sweet-N-Tart heart sprinkle mix from Trinity stems. And I'm sort of scattering it a bit around on my panel. Also, perfect placement on the cloud. I thought it was a lovely accent. And then one underneath the sentiment. And then I tried also to balance it out. Now I have 4 on the right side, it's quite heavy, so I added 1 more on the left to balance it a bit more. I don't want it to be symmetrical because that's just something that doesn't work in my head. But you know, using my embellishment wand to get everything in place. And then to finish off this card, I'm going to add some glossy accents. I'm going to add glossy accents all over the baby. And I'm also going to add it to the nose of this adorable bear that is sleeping. And that took me quite a while because the baby is quite big as well, the word. But it was worth it, and it's so shiny and I just love it. You can see it in the pictures how shiny it is because the light is just catching from everywhere on there. But yeah, you can also leave it like this, of course, but from time to time adding a bit of glossy accents is just the way to go. I did a bit of a boo-boo. I just removed the glossy accents as quick as possible, and then I did all the rest. So once that's done, this card is finished and I'm not going to add anything more. So I hope that you like the end result and of course that you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, you can leave them down below in the comments. Don't forget that this card is part of an INSTAHOP over on Instagram and you can win a giveaway. So definitely participate if you want a chance on £25 at Time for Tea Designs. Thank you again for stopping by. I hope that you have an incredible weekend and I'll be back soon with some new craft inspiration. Bye!